Most animals survive giant predators by being faster, stronger, better camouflaged, or equipped with horns that look like they were designed by someone with anger issues. Humans had none of that. We were comparatively slow, physically unimpressive, and covered in skin so fragile that even modern furniture can injure us. And yet, our ancestors lived alongside saber-toothed cats, cave lions, giant hyenas, massive bears, and other carnivores that could turn a human being into a disappointing appetizer. Somehow we survived. Not because one heroic caveman wrestled a lion while everyone else carved the moment into a tasteful wall mural. The real answer was stranger, smarter, and far more human. Our ancestors learned to cooperate, control fire, build weapons, read landscapes, and convince predators that attacking one weak ape meant dealing with 20 extremely irritated apes holding sharpened sticks. We did not become the strongest animal. We became the most expensive one to hunt. Before humans could survive giant predators, we first had to solve a much more embarrassing problem. We were not very good at being prey. A gazelle can accelerate like it owes money. A porcupine carries its own security system. A turtle arrives with a studio apartment attached to its spine. Early humans had long legs, clever hands, and the general body plan of someone who had wandered into the wrong ecosystem without reading the safety instructions. But our weaknesses came with unusual advantages. Walking upright raised our heads above tall grass, helping us spot movement across open landscapes. It also freed our hands to carry food, infants, stones, and eventually weapons. Those hands could grip, shape, throw, and point, which may sound ordinary until you realize that most animals cannot accurately launch a rock at your face from across the clearing. Humans became remarkably good throwers. Our rotating shoulders, flexible waists, and ability to store energy through the torso allowed us to produce fast, accurate projectiles. A leopard had claws. We had physics. Still, one thrown stone would not stop every giant predator, especially if the stone missed and merely informed the predator that lunch had become rude. The real breakthrough was cooperation. Many primates cooperate, but humans took social coordination to an extreme. We could watch one another, recognize danger signals, share attention, and organize behavior around a threat that only part of the group could see. A warning call did not need to mean only predator. It could gradually communicate something closer to large cat near the trees, do not run alone, and Kevin, stop investigating it. Language, even in an early form, made collective defense more precise. One person could distract, others could gather children. Several adults could form a line, wave branches, throw stones, or surround a vulnerable camp. The predator was no longer facing one animal. It was facing a coordinated argument. Stone tools made that argument sharper. Cutting flakes helped process carcasses quickly, reducing the time spent exposed at kill sites. Heavy stones could smash bones and double as defensive weapons. Wooden spears extended the reach of the human body, allowing our ancestors to threaten an attacker without placing their entire torso inside biting distance. Then came fire. Controlled fire offered warmth, cooked food, light, and protection, although it was never a magical force field. Hungry carnivores could still approach camps, especially if they became accustomed to human presence. But flames, smoke, sparks, noise, and a cluster of alert humans created uncertainty. Predators prefer vulnerable prey, not confusing prey surrounded by burning wood and screaming primates. That combination changed the equation. Individually, humans remained fragile. Together, we became a problem. The first victories over giant predators probably did not look like victories at all. They looked like hungry people standing at the edge of a carcass, waiting for something with better teeth to finish eating. Early humans often shared landscapes with large cats, hyenas, wolves, and bears, all of them competing for the same resources: meat, water, shelter, and the small luxury of not being eaten. A fresh carcass could be a feast, but it was also a glowing invitation to every carnivore within smelling distance. At first, our ancestors may have scavenged whatever predators left behind. Even stripped bones contained marrow, and stone tools could open parts of an animal that claws and teeth had not fully exploited. This was not glamorous hunting. It was prehistoric leftovers. But scavenging taught humans something important. Predators were dangerous, yet they were not invincible. They could be distracted, intimidated, exhausted, or forced to retreat if enough humans acted together. Picture a group approaching a feeding cat. Nobody charges alone, because that person would immediately become a valuable scientific lesson. Instead, they shout, throw stones, wave branches, and advance as a cluster. The goal is not necessarily to kill the predator. It is to make staying more stressful than leaving. This behavior is called mobbing when animals collectively harass a threat. and humans were exceptionally well equipped to upgrade it. We could coordinate our movements, aim projectiles, maintain eye contact with one another, and remember which locations were dangerous. Over time, experience turned panic into procedure. Water holes demanded similar caution. Predators understood that thirsty animals eventually had to approach. Humans learned to scan tracks, listen for alarm calls, travel in groups, and avoid arriving at the most dangerous times. Landscape knowledge became a survival technology. A narrow path, rocky ledge, shallow crossing, or open patch of ground could determine whether a predator had the advantage. Caves created another problem. They offered shade and shelter, but they also came pre-installed with occupants. Bears, hyenas, and large cats used caves for resting, denning, or raising young. Taking over one was less like buying a house and more like discovering that the basement belonged to a carnivore. Fire, smoke, noise, and repeated group presence may have helped humans claim some of these spaces, though probably not without risk. Once occupied, camps could be organized to keep vulnerable people near the center, while alert adults watched the edges. Slowly, humans stopped behaving like animals passing through predator territory. Repeated encounters also created shared memory. Children could learn which tracks meant danger, which calls demanded silence, and which predator could be challenged. Knowledge survived encounters that individual bodies sometimes did not. We started behaving like neighbors with boundaries. Archaeology rarely gives us a complete prehistoric action sequence. It gives us a broken rib, several wooden sticks, a pile of horse bones, and the professional obligation to avoid shouting. Clearly, there was an epic boss battle. Still, some discoveries bring us remarkably close. At Schöningen in northern Germany, archaeologists recovered carefully shaped wooden spears and other hunting implements alongside butchered animal remains. Once widely described as roughly 300,000 to 400,000 years old, newer dating places the famous spear horizon closer to 200,000 years ago. The revised date changes the calendar, not the achievement. These were balanced, purpose-built weapons requiring planning, woodworking skill, and cooperation. Whoever made them was not improvising with the first pointy branch available. The spears were found mainly with horse remains, not piles of defeated lions. That matters because weapons designed for large prey could also transform an encounter with a predator. A thrusting spear gives a human distance. A group of spears gives a lion a committee. Then there is Siegsdorf, Germany, where researchers re-examined the skeleton of a cave lion about 48,000 years old. One rib carried a partial puncture whose shape and position matched a wooden spear entering the animal's body. The researchers concluded that the wound provides the earliest direct evidence currently known of humans killing a large predator. Neanderthals, in this case, appear to have brought the sharp end of the argument. Another cave lion specimen from Einhornhöhle preserved cut marks consistent with careful skinning. The paws were left attached to the hide, suggesting the pelt may have been removed in a way that preserved its dramatic appearance. It is impossible to interview the Neanderthal responsible, but this does not look like someone merely collecting convenient calories. A lion's skin is warm, useful, and extremely effective prehistoric interior design. Yet bones also record the opposite outcome. Human remains from Pleistocene sites sometimes carry tooth marks, punctures, or damage caused by large carnivores. A Middle Pleistocene human femur from Grat Ahominides in Morocco was chewed by a large carnivore, probably a hyena. Archaeologists cannot determine whether the animal killed the person or scavenged the body afterward. Tooth marks are evidence of consumption, not automatically evidence of murder. That distinction keeps the story honest. Ancient humans sometimes killed predators. Predators sometimes consumed humans. Most encounters left no recoverable evidence at all. The archaeological record is not a victory parade. It is a damaged scoreboard with several numbers missing. But one fact survives the uncertainty. By at least the later Middle Pleistocene, humans possessed weapons, coordination, and nerve powerful enough to reverse the usual relationship between hunter and hunted. Occasionally, the prey stabbed back. Here is the frustrating truth about prehistoric predator encounters. The most successful survival strategy usually leaves no evidence. A human notices fresh paw prints, changes direction, and lives another 40 years. Archaeology records none of this. There is no fossilized label reading, excellent decision, lion avoided. That silence creates several major debates. The first concerns how often early humans confronted carnivores at carcasses. Some researchers emphasize scavenging, arguing that hominins collected meat and marrow from animals killed by predators. Others point to cut marks, hunting weapons, and access to nutrient-rich body parts as evidence that humans sometimes reached carcasses early or killed prey themselves. The safest conclusion is also the least cinematic. They probably did both. Humans are opportunists. We hunt, scavenge, steal, share, and eat food found in office refrigerators despite clearly written names. Computer models suggest that groups of early hominins could have competed successfully with giant hyenas for carcasses left by saber-toothed cats, but only under favorable conditions, including sufficient group size. That does not prove such confrontations happened exactly as simulated. It demonstrates that coordinated scavenging was ecologically possible. Then there is fire. Fire probably reduced danger around camps, especially at night, but calling it a guaranteed predator barrier would be reckless. Modern lions, hyenas, and bears can approach artificial light or campfires when hunger, curiosity, or familiarity outweighs fear. Ancient carnivores were not programmed to see flames and immediately respect property law. The effect likely depended on context. The size of the fire, the number of humans, the predator species, previous encounters, and whether anyone stayed awake. A dying fire beside 3 sleeping people is not a fortress. It is mood lighting. Researchers also disagree about how frequently humans deliberately hunted large carnivores. A spear wound in one cave lion proves that at least one direct killing occurred. It does not reveal whether predator hunting was common, rare, defensive, symbolic, or the result of a confrontation that went catastrophically off schedule. Even tooth marks on human bones can be ambiguous. Carnivores attack living prey, but they also scavenge bodies. A punctured bone may document predation, post-mortem feeding, or several events layered together. Archaeologists must distinguish these possibilities through fracture patterns, digestion damage, cut marks, location, and comparison with modern carnivore behavior. So the prehistoric world was not a simple contest in which humans gradually defeated every monster. It was a shifting negotiation. Sometimes we avoided predators. Sometimes we stole from them. Sometimes they stole from us. Occasionally, one side became lunch. What changed was not that humans stopped being vulnerable. We became flexible enough to survive without using the same answer twice. Once humans could occasionally kill, drive away, or outmaneuver giant predators, those animals stopped being only threats. They became symbols. This transformation mattered because large carnivores already possessed everything humans admired and feared: strength, speed, sharp senses, impressive teeth, and the confidence to sleep wherever they wanted. A lion was not merely an animal. It was a walking advertisement for power. Wearing part of that power may have changed how humans saw themselves. The carefully removed cave lion skin from Einhornhöhle suggests that Neanderthals valued more than meat. A pelt with its paws preserved would have been difficult to obtain and impossible to ignore. It might have served as bedding, clothing, decoration, a display of hunting ability, or something with symbolic significance. We cannot know exactly what it meant. Archaeology does not preserve the conversation where someone said, "Put the enormous lion skin over there." It really ties the cave together. But dangerous animal remains appear repeatedly in later human ritual and art. During the Upper Paleolithic, people painted lions deep inside caves, carved mammoths, shaped bear figures, and created creatures that combined human and animal features. The famous lion-human figurine from Hohenstein-Stadel in Germany, carved from mammoth ivory roughly 40,000 years ago, joined a human body with the head of a cave lion. That was not a practical hunting diagram. It was imagination transforming a predator into an idea. Perhaps such images represented spirits, ancestors, stories, social groups, or qualities people wanted to possess. Whatever their exact meaning, humans were no longer simply reacting to predators in the landscape. They were bringing those predators into culture. This likely strengthened social bonds. A successful confrontation with a large carnivore would have required coordination and then generated a story worth repeating. Who held the spear? Who warned the group? Who froze at the worst possible moment and later described this as maintaining defensive stillness? Retelling these events could teach younger members how to behave while also creating prestige for experienced hunters. Predator knowledge became social currency. Knowing where lions denned, how hyenas approached, which tracks were fresh, and when bears occupied caves could protect an entire group. Older individuals who carried that knowledge were valuable living archives. Ritual may have helped organize the fear. By turning predators into costumes, carvings, myths, and ceremonies, humans could mentally control animals that remained physically dangerous. The monster outside the firelight became a character inside the story. And stories are another kind of weapon. A spear can protect one body during one encounter. Shared knowledge can protect generations. Humans survive giant predators not only by killing them, but by remembering them, representing them, and teaching their children exactly what those teeth could do. Fear became tradition. Tradition became strategy. Today, most of us will never face a cave lion outside a museum, and the museum lion is generally committed to excellent customer service. Yet the survival system built around ancient predators is still running quietly inside us. We notice movement in darkness before we understand what moved. We feel safer in groups. We sit near walls in unfamiliar rooms. We tell children stories about monsters waiting beyond the light, then act surprised when they refuse to sleep. Our ancestors lived in a world where those instincts were not paranoia. They were maintenance. Every campfire was a temporary border between the known and the unknown. Every night watch turned social trust into survival. Every warning call, shared meal, sharpened spear, and remembered track helped transform fragile primates into animals that could occupy landscapes already claimed by stronger hunters. Humans did not eliminate danger through courage alone. Courage is useful, but it is also what people call poor judgment after it succeeds. We survived because we combined caution with invention. We avoided fights we could not win, gathered allies when escape was impossible, and stored experience in stories so that one generation did not need to make every fatal mistake again. Eventually, giant predators faced a new kind of competitor, not the fastest, not the strongest. A creature that could alter terrain, control flame, attack from a distance, communicate invisible threats, and return tomorrow with more relatives. That power came with consequences. As humans expanded, hunted, changed habitats, and reduced prey populations, some large carnivores disappeared from regions they had dominated for thousands of years. Survival gradually became control, and control sometimes became destruction. That is the uncomfortable ending. The animal once terrified of teeth became capable of deciding which animals would continue to exist. But when you sit around a fire with friends, trade stories in the dark, or feel strangely relieved when someone else checks an unexplained noise, you are participating in something ancient. The technology has changed. The instinct has not. Our ancestors survived giant predators by becoming cooperative, adaptable, and memorable. They were still weak apes. They were simply weak apes with excellent group coordination, sharp sticks, and a growing reputation for making dinner extremely complicated.